Good morning. Thank you all for being here this morning. And I want to say a special thank you to Speaker Shepard, President Hester, Senator Dismang, Representative Eves, and all of the legislators who made today possible. It's been an incredibly busy few weeks here in Arkansas. I've spent a lot of time traveling around the state, helping people recover from the storms and tornadoes that came through just less than a couple weeks ago. And our legislators have been working around the clock to wrap up this legislative session. But even before the events of the past couple of days, Arkansans have been struggling. Single mom in Russellville has had to pick up extra shifts at work because of prices at the grocery store are too high. Working parents in Smackover can't afford a summer road trip anymore because gas has gotten too expensive. And the small business owner we spoke to in Bentonville just filed his taxes and realized he can't afford to hire new staff next year. Because of DC Democrats' out of control, reckless spending, Arkansans are caught in the middle between sky-high inflation and sky-high taxes. Our state desperately needs relief, and our administration and the legislators that have been in session are delivering on exactly that. In a moment, I'll sign a tax cut that this year alone will cut $150 million off the personal income tax and $36 million off the corporate income tax. This covers 1.1 million Arkansans, the majority of taxpayers in our state. We're also phasing out a tax on Arkansas manufacturers called the throwback tax. Currently, manufacturers based here have to pay a tax when selling things outside of Arkansas, hurting their ability to compete in the free market. We'll get rid of this tax and boost businesses, jobs, and investment in our state. And I want to say a special thank you to Senator Gilmore and Representative Beatty for their leadership on making sure that that happened during this session. These changes won't just help the hardworking Arkansas families struggling with inflation. It will also level the playing field with our neighbors. We have zero income tax states like Tennessee and Texas on either side of us. And Mississippi and Missouri have just passed historic tax cuts. We want Arkansas to be competitive in retaining and, mess that up a little bit, attracting and retaining talent. Today, we're taking another step to regain our competitive edge. That's the #1 priority of our administration: better schools, safer streets, and lower taxes, all to make Arkansas the most attractive state in the country to live, to work, and to raise a family. This is the first major tax cut of my administration, but it certainly won't be the last. We're going to continue to find ways to cut government waste and government spending. We will continue to cut taxes until we can responsibly phase out our state income tax. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Now I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues in the legislature to make a few remarks.
Thank you, Governor. I just want to say I'm very proud to be a part of this. This is a continuation of tax reductions we've made since 2015 in this General Assembly. Thank you to my good friend Senator Dismang and all my House and Senate colleagues for doing this. It keeps Arkansas on the right path, in my opinion, gives people back home more money, and creates an environment in Arkansas that I think businesses will find friendly. So with that, thank you very much.
Just to echo what he said, I think that we've been very diligent over the last several sessions in keeping and dropping that rate, that individual income tax rate down. But in addition to that, we've also done everything that we can to simplify the process and simplify how individuals are required to file their tax returns here in the state. We've consolidated tables. This gets us one step closer to be able to get us back to one table. In addition, there's lots of questions about who this impacts. Well, it impacts every taxpayer that makes above $23,400 in this state. They will receive immediate impact because we were able to make it retroactive to the first of this year. Lastly, I do want to talk about the path that we've gone down and the fact that we did focus on low and income income families here in the state first, and that you can see inside our tax code. In fact, those making below $23,000 are set at 3.4%. Again, we've got a commitment. I'm proud of what we're doing, and we're headed in the right direction. And I think we'll make it a little farther down the road sooner than we think. Thank you.
Take a couple questions if there are any.
Governor, given the cost of words, the cost of the prisons, how comfortable are you about
I'm really confident in our path forward. We've made sure that we can fully fund both Arkansas Learns as well as the criminal justice reform package, at the same time delivering on the promise to continue chipping away at our state's income tax. We have already made significant changes. The budget that was proposed by the previous administration, we made cuts to that in our proposal. We're going to continue looking for things like that, and when we find those savings, we'll pass it on to the taxpayer. But we feel very confident about the path forward, and are leaning very heavily on our colleagues and our partners in the legislature to work with us as we continue to deliver for the people of the state.
From inflation, I mean, again, I would just like to say that there was a commitment to make sure that we focused on low and middle income taxpayers first. Again, this is a reflection of the fact, I think, that all families are hurting from inflation here in this state. But again, we did our work. We made our decision to focus there first. And again, you're just seeing a chipping away at the top rate, and that's the result of the bill. Yeah, I do think they do. When we consolidated tables, we cut taxes for individuals that had never received a tax cut here in the state, folks that were kind of in between the tables, and that impacted more Arkansans at a greater degree than even what we're talking about here today. But again, that was what we decided to do first, and this is just a reflection of the continued path to drive that top rate down. Because at the end of the day, that what will hurt families in Arkansas is if we're not competitive, that we're losing our population to out of states, that we're losing entrepreneurs to other states. And so I think this is reflective of the fact that we want to be progressive. This is a progressive tax structure that we have here in the state, and will help draw people in and continue the progress that we're having.
There was a reference in the debate in the legislature to defense contractors in southern Arkansas in relation to the throwback rule. Is there some project that's contingent on the throwback?
I'm not aware of any specific project that would be dependent. I think that the reference was made that there may be contractors that have facilities in multiple states, some of those states which have already eliminated the throwback rule, but I would imagine it's not just the defense contracting industry, but probably a number of industries. And so I think that was given as just kind of an anecdotal reference, but as far as a specific project, that was not, at least from my standpoint, there was no specific project in mind.
Anybody else?
Not related to tax cuts, the social media and verification bill, do you still plan on signing that? And the amendment that was added, as my understanding, carved out for Google and YouTube. Do you agree with that? Does that seem fair and in line with what you're looking for?
Google wouldn't be classified as a social media company, and so there's a clear distinction there. Our goal is protecting kids, empowering parents to make the best decision possible, and we know how harmful social media can be to kids. And by putting this piece of legislation in effect, we do not impact any current users, only new users, and only residents here in the state. So not out-of-state people that come here to visit would not be impacted. But anyone under the age of 18 with a new social media account would be verified by a parent. Doesn't mean they can't have it, just means they have to have verification in order to do so. We think that this helps us do a better job of protecting kids in the state of Arkansas, and that's a good thing, so absolutely I plan to sign.
The concern with YouTube has raised a lot of concerns with their content as well too. I guess why not press it?
Look, we're going to continue looking at every way that we can engage in this process and hold big tech companies accountable, something that has never been done. And as much as we can continue down that process, we're going to. We think this is a great first step of holding these social media companies accountable and protecting kids for the long haul. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.
They wouldn't give me a thanks for having us. I asked for it.
Oh, yeah.
He said he'd have